Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to FPVXP. Today and finally we're gonna rock and roll the review of the TBS Unify Pro32 HV. And that is quite a mouthful. I had to do like 75 takes to get it right. And I actually promised the review for this ages ago. And I couldn't get it done because I put it into my drone and I tried to configure everything, but between the mixture of Agent X, which is TBS's software, and Betaflight 4.1, where you now have to implement your own VTX tables, and then getting in and changing the port from Crossfire to Smart Audio, and there being so little information out there about this, I literally sat and fumbled around with it for an age. But finally, I got it right. Thank you very much for the VTX tables video, Mr. Bardwell. And thank you to my tinkering for finding the stupid Crossfire data port on this thing so that I could switch it and eat my hat to everyone, because I actually raised a ticket with TBS saying Smart Audio 2.1 is not supported in Betaflight, and it is. So, on with the review. I'm not going to show you what we get in the package because there isn't a whole lot, and what we all really want to know about is this bad boy. And I've got to say, he's quite a beast. He's big, so what we're going to do is we're going to measure him, we're going to weigh him, we're going to check how hot he gets, and we're going to check his output. And that will be the first part of this video. And once that's all done, I'm going to stick this in my Mama. And I've got some 5.5 inch props on there and a 2600 milliamp hour battery that gives me at least 10 minutes flight time. And we'll take this thing out at least 1 or 2 kilometers to see what the breakup looks like. And I'll record the DVR and add it to this video. So, without further ado, the TBS Unify Pro32 HV, ladies and gentlemen, comes in a double-decker design, like so. They apparently say it's for heat dissipation and things of that sort. Generally, I like it, even though it's a little bit heavy. It uses a plug, which I also like, but you can direct solder to it. There is information about how to do this out there. They say 1000 milliwatts plus, so 1 watt plus. But then there's a whole debacle about if you update the software to the latest software that they've actually toned it down a little bit, maybe to preserve longevity or, you know, not to break any laws in particular places and things like that and so on and so forth. So, let's get down to business. What we'll do first, we're going to weigh the bad boy. So scale, here we have it. We have 0 on the scale, as you can see. Pop him on. What do we have there? 8.76 grams. Check it off. Put it back on. 8.74. 8.73. 8.7. Okay, great. We can see that the scale is working, as you'd expect. That's fairly light. You can't knock it for a double-decker design. It's really light. And you can see the figures. That gets weighing out of the way. Alright, so everybody's going to want to know the dimensions for this bad boy because everybody's going to stick it in their stuff and they need to know it's going to fit. And it's quite fat, I give it to you. There we have 5.5 millimeters thick. It's 25 millimeters wide, and let's get the fattest part possible. 37 millimeters long. Okay, exact dimensions. Boom. That gets that out the way. So for the next two, we're actually going to implant this in one of my quads. And we're going to eventually stick it in this one, which is what it was planned for. So I've had it in here. It's ready to rock and roll. I'm literally Going to stick the plugs back in as requested. Viva MMCX, we love it. So as you can see, we're ready to rock and roll. What I'm going to do is grab my pack. You guys will see this here. Yes. And I think what we'll do is test to see the output first. And I do have this set to 1 watt or 1000 milliwatts, same thing, depends how you like to call it out. It's supposed to say plus, and you guys have to remember I'm configured to a particular channel. I'm on race 4. Not every channel puts out the same amount of power. That's just the way it is. I have this MMCX to SMA between the VTX and the actual RF meter. So we are, we turn on. But I'm not one for getting lab results. What I really would like is real life results. That's what I'm shooting for here. So when you want real life results, okay, get ready, because here comes a loud beep. Apologies. There we go. Let's see. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, if you can see, looking at the screen there, or not, because I'm wrecking my stuff. And this thing struggles to focus. Give it a chance. It is literally on 1.1 watt. As you can see, 30 decibels. Come on, focus. It's so horrible, it never likes to focus. But you get the gist of it. There it is. Ha! So hovering nicely, and now we've had it plugged in a while. We're going to see how hot this bad boy actually gets, because that's the true test right there. I've got my heat gun here. There we are. Table's at 29 degrees, 27 degrees. I do have the heating on. Now, let's see what we have here. 67, 70 degrees. I like to measure right where the MMCX connects. And I've got to say, we're still sitting at 1 watt. I can see 1.01 watt, which isn't bad. And you can set exactly how much you want this to heat up before it cuts out. I have mine set to 80 or 90 degrees, something like that. There we go, we're getting up to 76, 77, 78. And this is on a bench. You have to remember that this is on a bench. Usually you plug this in, the longest you'll sit around before you take off, or if you have your settings for pit mode and stuff, you'll never just leave your VTX sitting like this. Okay, so there we can see the heat as we move up towards the MMCX connector. That's where the heat is. So she gets hot, as you can see. Excuse the beeps again, I'm so sorry. It's terrible. Deactivate my buzzer. Boom. Job done. Can you actually believe that that heat travels through this tiny little MMCX to SMA cable all the way up to this plug, and you can actually feel the heat. So there it is. What's going to happen is I'm going to install it there. It's going to look friggin' awesome just there in my Marmot. I got my new big ass props. And once that's all done and dusted, we'll take her for a flight. I will record the DVR and I shall post back. What else do I have to say about this VTX? Remember, if you guys are on Beta Flight 4.1, you have to configure your own VTX tables, because Beta Flight's taken the smart route and left that up to you in case you want to get up to your own shenanigans. JB, Mr. Bardwell, has an excellent video on exactly how you can do that in 4.1. It certainly helped me. And if you do get this VTX, remember to make sure you turn the port in the configuration tab to smart audio, and that it's the right one, and that you plug this into Agent X, which is the TBS software. And I actually had an issue with that, because if you plug this in via the micro USB and you leave it too long and the blue light starts to flash when it's finally done with its I don't know if it's a input output startup sort of BIOS or whatever it's doing, but once it gets to the blue light and you're in the software, it won't actually let you get to the menu. So you literally have to unplug it quickly and plug it back in, and then click on configure, and the settings to change the data port from Crossfire protocol to Smart Audio protocol will then be presented. And that literally held me up for weeks, guys. So if you are watching this and you are getting this, I hope this saves you the time, because it literally drove me mad. And probably everyone I know, because I was complaining for like a week. So sorry everybody I complained to, it was just me being a jack. And please enjoy the video that I will post just after this of the DVR and what sort of range and what sort of video you're getting. Just remember, I'm using the Eachine EV200Ds with a rapid fire module on there, and I'm using a Menace RC right-hand circular polarized antenna, and on the second SMA port I'm using a Menace RC patch. Yes. And those are the results you get. This is not a lab, this is real life testing, this is a real life build, this is me in my kitchen recording a video and going out to fly for you guys. So this is what you're going to get, this is how it's going to work. What says on the packaging isn't always what you get, but at least you'll see in real life how it's going to be. Thanks guys for watching, and like and subscribe. Have a good day. Bye.